Carthage is ready to throw down the gauntlet and kick the Greeks out of the Mediterranean. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to some more Total War Rome 2. We are diving right back in with another online siege battle, and today is shaping up to be a good one. As I said already, we have the forces of Carthage. They are going to be supported by the mighty Iceni, bringing that barbaric field to the battlefield, and that glorious blue as well. Going up against them, we do have the forces of Sparta and Pergamon. Can't quite see Pergamon yet, but they are in control of this gate right now, so I'm sure they'll be coming in division pretty quickly. For the forces on either side, we do have basically a very nice Italian mercenary front line for Carthage. Again, going to be using these troops to basically absorb the initial missile fire and also to push the equipment up to actually breach the walls themselves. But as we go further back, we do have some mercenary Cretan archers, a staple of basically any Mediterranean force. Legendary beyond belief for Cretan archers. Then we have the Libyan infantry, really a sturdy front line, or I guess a sturdy elite force for the Carthaginians. Then over for the Britons, we do have chosen sword band, a very, very scary barbaric infantry, able just to dish out an insane amount of damage. We have some Briton slingers, the Britons being famed for their slinging ability. As we go further down, we have more slingers, more chosen sword band, and then I believe there is a chariot somewhere. I'd be very upset if there wasn't any chariots, and I'm not seeing any chariots, so I'm personally pretty upset. Finally, we do have the heroic nobles back here as well as the last real notable unit for the Britons. I'm hoping there's a chariot somewhere and I just haven't noticed it, because what's the point of bringing the Britons if you're not going to bring a chariot, at least a token chariot? So far the siege is going to be getting underway, and initially we are basically just getting all this artillery and tortoises thrown forward to breach the walls and prepare themselves for the onslaught of the Greeks. And it's going to be a hard battle because the Greeks are obviously famed for their defensive capability, able to repel basically any assault from the land, and the only real missiles able to dislodge them from their positions. And even then, they can still go toe-to-toe with the heavier infantry and the thorax reforms, really allowing them to go and basically go toe-to-toe with the majority of the infantry elsewhere. It's going to be very fun, though, to see if the Carthaginians can crack this defense, and obviously the Spartans are super, super scary. We do have a lot of the siege towers right now firing in with their ballistas upon them, just giving the attackers that little bit of extra taste, able to take down some of these levy pikemen already, which is pretty nice. One of the tactics they do use in competitive siege battles is to push up these siege towers. It's all it's all fair, and both sides always do it. So some levy freemen for the Britons, obviously being their unit of choice, and basically this unit of levy freemen is basically here just to secure some vision, see what is in this initial layer. It's basically here to die, but you get a lot of information, and then you also absorb a lot of these javelins. They're going to be coming in from a lot of these units, so you'd much rather, javelins thrown into your levy freemen than, say, your Iberian infantry or your sword band or anything else along them lines. I also like as well how they are being brought back as well, because if they're still prolonged in this engagement, they will just be broken, and this way they're going to absorb that extra javelin throw. You only generally get 2 javelin tosses from most infantry units, as another piece of the wall is being just smashed down by this amazing piece of siege engineering. It would be very cool if Creative Assembly ever did go back to do a Rome 3 to make, siege equipment unique to certain factions, so that the more technologically advanced factions would be using stuff like this, but then maybe more of a barbaric would have their own type of version to smash down walls, or, it'd be really cool to have that kind of play out. Right now, though, the towers are racking up some serious kills. We've got some mercenary Italian swords here. Once again, a throwaway unit, but a unit that is being used very effectively to basically be hit at right now. We're also getting some siege towers pushed up. I wouldn't be surprised if these were brought all the way up, because, again, these ballistas can constantly shoot out and start hammering down this street. So I like the idea of putting a siege tower there and there as an offensive measure. No one's overly committed to this, but we're really starting to get a good glimpse of the defense right now. Galatian swords of Pergamon. That's one of the awesome things about Pergamon, and what makes them such a powerful faction is that ability to bring very, very hard-hitting tribal units, and also having the ability to bring Greek units. It's just a very, very potent faction. and I think definitely a top tier one to say the least. We've also got some more Thorax back here and Agamemnon Spears, who again are a very, very sturdy unit. Spartans are forming up. Obviously, we're going to be seeing elite Spartans scattered throughout the battlefield, and I'm sure a few units of hero Spartans as well thrown into the fight as these towers do get brought up. Sparta isn't looking to give up the walls super easily though, bringing up a fairly decent defense here of just Spartan hoplites. Again, not really the best unit to defend the walls, but a unit nonetheless, and all the time they're holding this line, they're going to be able to keep these towers constantly shooting, and that's going to be really, really beneficial. So as soon as the siege tower does sort its life out and actually throws down the bridge, then we will be getting a good fight in. But there is Chosen Swordband inside the siege tower, which might be a little bit scary. I think what they're waiting to do is they're waiting for these Chosen Swordband to get up, and then maybe just kind of pincer this unit of Spartan hoplites. But again, something they're going to have to be very careful of is missile fire coming in. There is going to be a lot of slingers back here who are able just to volley in here, and you can already see the javelins coming off right now, able to do some serious damage to these Chosen Swordband. However, the Chosen Swordband are also set up, able to volley back. And right now, this is a pretty deadly crossfire as they are able to go down here and get some really, really, really great kills from above where they don't get as many of their saving throws. However, slinger fire coming in now, and exactly what I was saying, walls can be a death trap, and that's why you see a lot of people go through these breaches. They'd rather these breaches, which are very hard going, than the death trap that the walls can be, because there's just so many clean line of sights for your bow and arrow or your sling that can really rack down the kills. So far, the attackers are putting up a good fight, but they're taking this initial brunt of the javelin fire from the units, from the infantry, and also from the missiles themselves. However, this is always the case in any siege battle. And yeah, them slings are starting to rack up a nice amount of kills. The swordband has now come down and are, vividly engaged with the Spartan hoplites, and obviously we've got more of them probably coming along that side momentarily. But the sooner they clear out these walls, the better. The sooner they can start getting down onto the main ground is going to really help out that assault. Force the defenders to really have to worry about being outflanked from these walls. Well, the Spartans aren't going to go down easily. Obviously, they are Spartans after all, able to withstand even the most ferocious wolf. The Spartan will stand firm, ready to repel these warriors from a mysterious island. Does seem like, though, that the Britons are choosing to rather, instead of going to go and help that fight on the walls, actually moving down here to engage the Agamemnon Spears, which could be pretty scary, honestly. I imagine their main goal is probably to go into the side of these pikemen if they can. But again, that might be a little bit more difficult. And also, there's a lot of missiles going in here. They really want this unit, Chosen Swordband, dead and taken care of. Another charge going off into the breach in the north. How's the rest of the battlefield going? Have the Carthaginians? Yeah, the Carthaginians have really committed to this fight now. You can see them throwing forward a lot of their weaker mercenary units, but also, I believe we do have some other heavier units here. We've even got some Britons over on that other side as well. A joint assault, which again is not a bad idea, and they're going to be really trying to push through here. And they definitely held a good chance of breaking this defense, and them javelins coming in are just deadly. But you can tell the type of units these javelins are going in on aren't going to be the main staying power for these forces. I mean, Chosen Swordband are the main kind of infantry line. But again, Carthage is definitely holding back a lot of their elite units, which will be very beneficial as the battle does go on. And if we get down close, you can see the full fighting as more reinforcements now being brought up here. I assume they'd already thrown their javelins and now they are fully committing to this battle. And it might not be a bad idea to really try and put pressure on this side. I was going to say it could be a really good idea to attack this position, but as you can see, the Spartans do have some helot slingers up here who will be able just to decimate that breach. They don't really have a poor field of view there. They can just see directly into that breach, and that's probably why there is no infantry going through it, because of the helot slingers up on this inner wall. And it's actually a really cool settlement that I imagine they will eventually fall back to and try and defend if they're able to, as the assault does continue. Carthage throwing some of their, what are these, just late Libyan hoplites. You get a pretty cheap unit here. Probably just, again, used to absorb a lot of the ammunition and just try and make a dent in the defense. Does seem like some morale, though, is kind of dwindling on these hoplites. Again, nothing too special. They're not going to be able to stand up to the Spartans, but still able to rack up a few kills, kind of chip off them initial wounds so that when the Libyans do finally commit to this fight, they're able to really get stuck in. How the Britons faring in the north, I mean, they are just being peppered with volley after volley from them slingers. Luckily, they are fairly heavily armored, but the Spartans are just able to do so much. Does also seem a lot of these slingers are going to be the main focus point for the enemy slingers as well. Obviously trying to whittle down that missile fire from both sides. The rocks just coming from above the breach, out of line of sight. I mean, pretty impressive shots there by the slingers from Pergamon, able to just know exactly where the enemy is. But unfortunately, Britain is going to lose a unit of slingers, which is going to be pretty bad. You never, ever want to lose your missiles this early on. And it does seem like as well, with the support of the added missiles, the sword band got absolutely massacred on this wall. That's an entire unit gone. And the Spartan hoplites only lost 45 men. Man, that was a very good exchange. And again, as you can see, if you look in the bottom left-hand side, you can see that these Spartan hoplites only killed 43 of them, which means a lot of these slingers or any added units, or Cretan archers even, were the ones who really racked up the kills. Oh man, I don't know if this is a misclick or what, if these guys are out of ammunition, but they're throwing in some slingers. I can't imagine these guys are already out of ammunition. This battle has only been raging for about 10 minutes, but maybe they are. I mean, yeah, again, they don't really have many kills either. 60 to 30, but I guess they are a cheap unit of slingers. I don't know, I honestly don't know. Yeah, I think they were just trying to follow out of line of sight. They went on guard mode and got thrown into there, which is not the end of the world, but we did lose some extra slings, so I guess not amazing, but not the worst thing in the world. The Spartans over on this side up to 133 kills. Definitely embodying the Greek way. That iron wall which refuses to budge. The Spartans are showing that true today. Over on the main left-hand side, oh my god, this has just devoured into chaos on the far left-hand side. So many units just being thrown forward against the Pergamon spears. Able to throw back this unit of sword band, but still getting so much pressure elsewhere. As the last of the Italian mercenaries are thrown in, and I imagine more of the elites, more of the Vanguard veterans are going to be turning up, able to be thrown in here. And I keep on calling like the mercenary Italian swords not great. They're not when you compare it to the upper tiers, but they're still not a bad unit in the slightest. For their price point, they have a very high melee attack and are able definitely to do damage in a combat situation. It's just their armor and their morale really going to lack compared to, say, the Thorax Swordsman or the Libyans. But still, for their price point, they are a solid unit, and I would always bring a handful of these guys as shock infantry. Are we getting artillery coming in? I didn't realize either side had an artillery piece, but do they? The Carthaginians do not. The Britons do not, so there must be a defensive artillery piece. Oh, it's probably the artillery piece up here, which is actually positioned perfectly. Look at that. If this can get some good shots off, that can really rack up the damage. Yeah, look at that. It does rack up the damage. Oh, that's a really nice volley there from the artillery pieces. More spearmen are now turning up to the fight. They really do not want to give up this breach, and I can completely understand why. If this breach does fall, then it's going to open up a lot of other positions. And already the Carthaginians are looking a little bit thin on numbers. I mean, they still have plenty back in reserve, but a lot of these more elite soldiers are now turning up, and all this is a really nice move here by the Carthaginians. Getting a soldier unit up here and just bringing it down and then throwing it into the rear here. Obviously throwing all your javelins first. You obviously have to worry about any counter punch from the Pergamon general, but still not the end of the world, honestly. Yeah, I like that a lot. Obviously you can find yourself enveloped fairly quickly. But bringing 2 units up here as well, I really like that. Because what you can do, if you bring 2 units up here, you send 1 unit in and you send 1 unit to hold this battle line here, so you can't get outflanked, and the Libyans will just rip them apart. So I really like this maneuver. We are seeing a unit of Royal Spartans, though, moved in here to immediately cancel this. And honestly, if I was... Oh, no, they're not. Are they not going to go down there? Oh, they're going to go here. I don't think you need to do that. I think this is way more scary. And like, if I was the Carthaginians, I would have quickly brought my unit down just to try and hold that line and allow the second unit to then move back and go in. But yeah, that is pretty scary right now for the initial assault. And as you can see, the soldiers are starting to dwindle on these front lines. You know, this tends to happen around about this point into a siege battle, as the kind of initial defense really just starts to feel that attrition. That exhaustion kicks in. You just don't have as many men as you would like to defend these breaches. Your missiles are starting to dwindle and you don't have as much to defend as you would like. And that's when the attackers start to make their move. They do, however, have a unit charging flat on into pikes, and they're quite quickly realizing and getting the hell out of there. This is basically a no-go zone. But they are starting to turn and pursue the enemy. No, they're just starting to reform, which I guess is fine. And here we go, the Libyans just doing exactly what I said they would do, immediately going in, and this is going to be catastrophic for the Aghanim Spears. They're trying to fight their way through, they're trying to form their square formation, which gives them brace, gives them morale, and also melee defense, but again, this is going to be their death. I mean, luckily they still have access to the spear formation, but as soon as it gets breached, it's over. And the Britons, I think, are coming up here to throw javelins down. So a really nice pincer movement here by the attackers, seizing the advantage. And now it's just, yeah, they're going to be throwing javelins down here just to deal with these guys. And I imagine the morale will really start to kick off. The Carthaginians also sending a unit of Libyan spears into basically hold the line. However, the morale is kind of low. So maybe there is a chance that the Spartans can break their way through here. But I can't imagine it being the case with the morale really dropping. Another unit of Libyan infantry now being committed into the fight, kind of taking over command. And the Britons throwing in their javelins. I imagine it's only a matter of time until this position is, completely lost. And, now the javelins are really racking up. It's over. However, the Spartans do have some counterplay if they want to come around the side here. There is definitely open gaps for them to seize this advantage. The Spartans are still committing more and more men in this northern position. There's not much left in the way of the counter-offensive, so this right-hand side is looking good, but it seems like the attackers are realizing this and just going to be pushing everything they have through the breaches that are working for them. Kind of is going to maybe work in the favor of the defenders, though, as they do have this entire set of wall right here they can use to their advantage just to kind of cover fire from a height advantage. It's been pretty useful. But yeah, it does seem like a big push down here. Realizing their advantage. More missile fire coming in just to basically try and hit any of these Libyan infantrymen in the back as they are faced away trying to kill the Aghanim Spears. Britons are now reinforcing it with the Royal Spartans, who are probably able to hold this front line. They're not in a phalanx though, so that's going to be maybe make them a little bit more vulnerable than maybe they are used to being. But I'm sure they're still capable of dispatching some lowly Libyan infantry. They are Royal Spartans after all. With the Britons coming in, that's going to give them that big bit of extra oof they need to, that high melee attack. And if they can get around the side of the Spartans, that's going to be pretty scary. And that's exactly what they're doing on top of the Aghanim General Spear for Pergamon. He needs to be very careful because he can see that General being broken down. And yeah, right away we are seeing more reinforcements. More spears though setting up, looking for a nice outflank. Definitely see them utilized, and lots of Spartans and Pergamonians. Pergamonians, is that the right word? Being committed to this fight. Quite quickly though, the Libyan infantry do fix this gap out, and they're probably going to go on the counter-offensive. And as you can see, there's just no javelins left now in the battle to really punish these units, because, you know, that initial assault from the mercenaries and the levy freemen absorbed a lot of them. And it allows a lot of these more expensive, more elite infantrymen now to be pushed in. However, as you can see, the Spartans are able to throw these away. Up to 84 kills now, and they've only lost 17 men. That is pretty impressive considering they're not in a phalanx. Pretty impressive indeed, and that's going to be where the missiles are probably going to have to come into play as we get more Libyan infantry thrown forward. Does seem like they've completely abandoned this side of the battlefield. One of the nice things about playing the attackers is the defenders still have to leave men here, because at any time the attackers could just decide just to smash through these gaps and come in at literally at any time. So the defenders always have to leave something there unless they want to fully fall back and open up their positions, because sooner or later the attackers will break through this initial assault. It's going to happen, so you're going to have to draw men from them other breaches, which opens up more gaps. And things become a little bit scary for the defenders. That is always going to be the case. That's one of the advantages the attackers do have. And you can see the Libyan infantry right now trying to pay for themselves by taking on some of the strongest warriors in the ancient world. And any outflanking they can do is also pretty nice. There is also a battle ribbon being popped off on the Royal Spartans, which is going ahead and giving them melee attack, melee defense, weapon damage, but making them very tired. And eventually, once this buff wears off, they will get a big debuff to them. So it's kind of like a spare of the moment ability. Some Libyan infantry and shield wall as well, which is going to be helpful. And we also have some Samurai warriors here as well. There's still some of the lighter infantry being thrown in. I don't suppose, yeah, there's no way for these guys to get up here. Oh, I like this little move, though. Get some slingers outside here to maybe try and hit some of the more expensive units that are holding back. There's not really anything to stop them here. And they can get some good rear shots off, say, into the back of these chosen sword band who are just standing there. Honestly, not a bad plan. And I really like this aggressive play, just to bring out your missiles to volley into the stuff in the side. You know, it's not like you're going to be shooting into frontal units which are covered by shields and heavy armor. They're shooting into the exposed position, and this is not something that you generally see in battles, even though it's a very good strategy. And they're going to be able to rack up some serious kills there. You already see up to 90 kills on that one unit of slingers. Again, just volleying in. Yeah, slaughtering this unit of chosen sword band. That's an expensive unit that did not really pay for itself, and now you're getting the general's bodyguard being brought over, but obviously it's not really that hard for these slingers just to fall back behind the unit of Spartan hoplites and yeah, keep themselves pretty secure. So really nice move there by the defenders to definitely eat back some very valuable costs. We're also getting some more archers back here, some of the Cretan archers volleying up on the wall, trying to hit any exposed infantry they are seeing. And when they're not shooting the men up on the wall, they're obviously going to be shooting the big infantry blobs that are being created as the Carthage try and push their way through. Spartans seemingly are falling back though, giving up on this position. And we're getting more Carthaginians being brought around. Again, if you're taking a look at the overall battlefield, this is everything that we can see right now. Obviously, we can see all the red, but there might be some hidden yellow units scattered around. And, I mean, it does kind of look like red is, yeah, looking a little bit thin on the ground. But again, there's a lot of very heavy strength, like heavy elite units still left to be thrown forward from the attackers. And that's really when the attackers come into their own. We're getting some more infantry as well, some Libyan infantry being brought around. If they have any javelins left, which I'm surely they do, you know, it's going to be pretty painful here. We're probably going to see a handful of these Spartans drop. However, they are hesitating throwing, but I can't imagine these guys have thrown their javelins already. I can't imagine what they would have thrown their javelins at. I mean, I guess then again, they have taken casualties, so maybe they have. We are also now getting more of the Carthaginians thrown in here. Going to be taking on the enemy. And again, these guys probably do have their javelins. They're going to be throwing them at point blank range. But does no one have their javelins left remaining? Maybe Libyan infantry don't even get javelins, I'm making that up. It doesn't say ammunition on them, so maybe they don't even get ammunition. As I'm too used to be playing DI where everything gets a javelin throw or two. Oh, these Cretan archers are getting a little bit too close for comfort, and yeah, the charge comes in. Oh, we do have javelins, but they didn't throw them. They must be out. Unless they're just waiting to throw them. We got some Britons up here, though, making some good ground. And this is one of the best ways to assault the phalanx. You basically throw javelins or missiles at it and, like, basically echelon it forward or backwards. It's either going to go one way or another, and either way is kind of good for you. The main brawl, though, this is really where the attackers are looking to make the ground, is right here. If they can break through this position, it's really going to open up the rest of the settlement for them. So that's going to be their main focus, and you know, if any gaps are created, which it does look like there is kind of one being created right here, they can then funnel units through and just envelop this position. Also, the Pergamon General is down to 36 men, so a mass rout isn't that crazy from more of the weaker units. We also have a Briton General up here as well, the heroic noble, he might even be committed here. And yeah, again, we're getting some units thrown back, just basically being like, bro, you can't abandon these breach points. If you do, then I'm going to bring around more men. However, a lot of the infantry is now inside the settlement. Oh, there's a lot of archers coming in now as well, really trying to take down this Royal Spartan unit. Obviously, a perfect unit to try and focus down. And as you can see, a lot of these arrows are finding their mark onto the Royal Spartans, and every arrow is really going to help out. We do have the Spartan General, though, being thrown in now as well, so this is a twofer. Right, we're getting the Spartan General being hit by missile fire, and also the Royal Spartans. So yeah, pretty good unit, and it really is going to depend on if the missile fire can rack up enough kills before the Royal Spartans kill this, because the Royal Spartans are going to kill the Libyan infantry. That is a certainty, but it's whether or not they can kill it before the missiles do enough damage. If the missiles can break through enough, then maybe there's a chance for another unit to come in. We also are getting the pikemen set up as well, so some levy pikemen being thrown into the fight. Pretty scary unit, honestly, a unit that can be used to great effect at just basically holding corridors, but are obviously super susceptible. Oh, nice, we're getting some slingers set up there and immediately raining down onto the pikemen. Obviously a unit they do not want to have to fight with. However, the pikemen are still getting some kills right now on the Libyan infantry. So they're still going to hold firm, and if anything, the Libyan infantry just pull back and let the missiles do their job, because it's only a matter of time until the levy pikemen have seen their day in the sun and are completely thrown back. The Britain General is having to be thrown in now, but the Pergamon General, I mean, he must be dead at this point, is being committed now, and yeah, the defense is really just being funneled in here. I doubt the attackers are really going to be doing much else. I think everything has just been committed to this point right there, and we're seeing that a lot recently. A lot of the attackers just really focusing down one point, and it makes sense to condense your forces into one big attacking blob. But they are still attacking 3 points, which is so crucial, because by attacking this, as soon as you make one breach through, it really puts everything else in a vulnerable state. And there you go. But once Pergamon loses their general unit properly, it's going to really affect the rest of the units, and it's going to create some big gaps, especially now that the levy pikemen are taken care of. We're getting Libyan infantry running amok, and again, if they can get round the side and into the back of these positions, it's going to be pretty scary. I think we're actually seeing one of the units of Agnes Spears trying to retreat out of there and actually form up a different defense, because yeah, the Royal Spartans are not going to make it much longer. And I think we're actually turned around in a really awkward position as well, which could be very, very devastating to their overall assault. And yeah, just the weight of the Britons really causing some serious damage. And again, I love this slinger placement right now. Is able to hit almost anything, and obviously because they're slingers, they can outrange the Cretan archers. There are also some archers back here. So yeah, right now these slingers are just having basically everything they want to, because these Cretan archers just can't hit them. So right now they're obviously just mainly focused on killing the Cretans. However, I think maybe these Cretans are out of ammunition. They're not really doing anything right now. The Cretans who aren't out of ammunition, though, are absolutely smashing this assault from the Libyans. Now we're getting Levy Freeman thrown in. Poor Levy Freeman. As you can see, the elite Royal Spartans, though, are pushing back the Carthaginians. They're also able to get a unit of their slingers up here, the Helot slingers, brought up, and again, they're going to be punishing these mercenary samurai warriors, racking up a handful of kills, already up to 35. I'm sure that number is going to pass 100. I would not be surprised if it did pass 100. That is for sure. So they're going to be pulling back there and basically just allowing the Spartan General to probably move in and finish up as the other unit of Royal Spartans does form up again. So this is going to be a really close battle. Balance power is dead even right now. Yeah, I honestly don't know. I mean, the defenders have a very good setup, I would say, but they're running out of infantry, and now they're having to commit their infantry to the fight here, which is going to open up, if the Carthaginian general wants to, he could just move in like so, try and hunt down these streets and just cause some issues in the back line. That's exactly what I'd be looking to do, because that is the only unit of cavalry, and that's why it's so useful bringing a unit of cavalry to a battle like this, is because you can go ahead and make huge plays in the end game. The Britain general, though, is fully committed here. Obviously, he is an elite unit of heroic nobles. So he's going to be able to, definitely push back the enemy in this combat, taking a bit of missile fire from the Cretans, but nothing too special. We've got a big bubble of, I guess, slow, basically depleted units of Libyan infantry, and the ambushes as well. Meaning the ambushes, I think, have a 3 or 4 javelins that could be very useful at this point in the game. And Yeah, archers are having to be thrown into combat right now. So basically, if any breaches happen here, it's going to be game over for the defenders. But they are looking pretty good at, you know, if they can repel this breach, and that's huge, and they can commit probably their general unit back. If I was them, I'd maybe even think about falling back right now. The Carthaginian general, though, is rotating around. Again, I feel it would be so good just to go through this gap right here. But it does look like they're going to come down here and maybe try and drop a rally or drop some buffs up and then maybe go do that. Because just imagine one rear charge into these guys. The morale of these archers are so low. And that morale could really hit them hard. And as I said, because the Spartans could even start closing this gap now, moving around with their general unit, try and get a nice little outflank. But with the constant volleying fire there from the slingers, they've able to actually break a handful of these guys, a handful of the Pergamon slingers. Britain general is very close to death, only a handful of them left, obviously absorbing a lot of that Cretan archer fire. They've been able to take down over 200 Greeks with them, so a very, very honourable fight right there. The Libyans are slowly pushing through, and I don't know if the Greeks just have enough missiles. They really need to commit these units somewhere, and I think they're going to go for the aggressive play. They realise that they can't win this fight over here, so they're going to go for this play and just try and come around. Luckily, the Carthaginians have a unit or two able to at least keep them at bay. They're not looking to kill them. They're looking to hold these Spartans at bay whilst they push through on the other positions, which they are slowly winning. And this general's bodyguard has kind of trapped himself now between a rock and a hard place. He has to hope that they can break through. The Cretan archers now arriving as well. And yeah, look at that morale drop. The morale is looking pretty devastating for the Spartans. As, yeah, volley after volley comes in, the morale is dropping, and if that general goes down, I think that is GG. However, he's able to push in over 130 kills on the Royal Spartan general, and I'm sure there's plenty more to go before this battle is over. But it is starting to look a bit grim. That balance of power shifting ever so slightly in favour of the attackers. And these archers are just coming in, 140 kills on them. And as you can see, the Carthaginian general is now seizing a gap and immediately diving through it and just going to be trying to hit any of these archers back here. Again, a very valid tactic is to kill these archers and just try and cause a mass army rout. But I think they're going to be gearing up for maybe a charge into the back here. All the archers it is in the back line, especially if they have ammunition left. This is pretty deadly. There is luckily some Spartan hoplites back there, but it's just not going to be enough, and the Carthaginian general is going to go diving in, losing a man on that charge, but again, nothing too scary. And if they can rout all these missiles, then it is basically GG, because I think a mass army rout will really start to go in. However, the Carthaginian general could pay for this charge with his life, down to 38 men now. A lucky kill on him could definitely turn this battle around, but I really do enjoy the play and able to take care of these mercenary Cretans. As I said, he could also just decide to go back into here and just try and finish these guys up. But besides the Spartan general, I think the attackers looking really good now. Again, that balance power shifting another notch in the belt towards the attackers. And even though they are under heavy slinger fire, they do continue to move forward. Reinforcements are on the way though. A small unit of 23 Royal Spartans rushing over to aid the slingers, but I don't think it's going to be quick enough. And obviously, the Carthaginian cavalry can just pull out of here, go into the back of these guys and outmaneuver them. However, the scraps are being committed to this battle by the attackers. They're having to throw in maybe some of their archers now, just anything they can. And I can't believe the Britain general is still alive. 258 kills. Very impressive indeed. And there you go, yeah. As soon as the Royal Spartans turn up, the Carthaginian general pulls back there. More of these archers are breaking. The Spartan general, though, on 200 kills, very impressive. Able to beat them back, but I think this is a little bit too late, and they needed a break just a tad sooner. Carthaginian general now is going to probably make his way into these Spartans, try and finish them off, and I think it's going to be all she wrote there. Unless there's like something crazy happening, I can't imagine there's going to be anything more. Yeah, they've now broken that down. Unless there's some hidden units we don't know about, I believe the attackers are going to definitely clean this one up. That's what it looks like. We do have a famous last stand though from the Royal Spartans. Love to see it indeed. The cavalry managing to make their way around, realizing at this point the battle is probably won, so let's just try and kill the enemy and finish them off. A very, very good defense though, and a good attack from both sides. I really liked the positioning of the defenders. They held firm. They just did not quite have enough to really outlast the enemy. They came close, you know, a couple more like clutch plays, and definitely we could have seen the defenders win that, because there is nothing left. There is a handful of very depleted infantry left, their general unit, and then just out of ammunition Cretan archers, which really don't do too much. So if the defenders could have maybe have utilized their pikes over here a bit better, or you know, maybe just were able to kill a general, or you know, trap the enemy somewhere, they definitely could have won this battle. But alas, they were unsuccessful, and hashtag defenders never win. The attackers are going to claim this one. But what a brutal Rome 2 battle. A massive shout out to the guys who sent this battle into me. I really appreciate it as always. You know, I probably see these players play quite a lot in my Rome 2 replays, because they just send me in a ton, and I really appreciate that. I really do. It's always awesome having replays. And obviously, if you have any good replays from any Total War, send them my way. I would love to take a look at them. So taking a look at the kills again, MVP, Heroic Nobles, 289 kills on that general unit. Very impressive. And even a unit of Chosen Swordband here, not doing too shabby. Pergamon on the other side of things. Again, decent kills on the general. I mean, I think all the generals across the board all did very nice. Oh, the Spartan general getting over 300 in the end. Pretty goddamn juicy. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. If you did, drop a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.